Good evening and welcome back to Cannon Chapter TV for, I say at the slightly earlier time of 8 p.m. for the lock-in show. Tonight's show, what are we going to be covering? Well, we're going to be covering a couple of, obviously, chatting points. Liverpool game, obviously the 2-0 loss at home, which was a little bit of a setback in terms of our top four hopes. We'll also be discussing a number of gunners that have been called up to the England team, as well as looking ahead to the weekend's game against Aston Villa. As you'll notice, I don't have no Stephen, no Lottie, or Keith in tonight's show. They've all got the night off for various reasons. However, I am joined by two of my favorite guys in terms of guests, in terms of like interaction on Twitter, and that is Lee and Bobby. Bobby, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, man, I'm blessed, man. Looking forward to having a good chat about Arsenal. We're in a good period at the minute. So, yeah, man. Yeah, I'm really positive and looking forward to the chat.
Wicked. And yourself, Lee, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well, mate. Yeah, pleased to be here.
Wicked. Brilliant. So, look, without any further ado, we will run the intro video and then we'll get right into it.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's
So, yes, good evening and welcome back to Cannon Chatter TV. I'm G Talks Arsenal, your host for tonight's show. As you know, I'm here with Lee and Bobby, familiar faces on the channel. Not here with Lottie, Stephen, or Keith. They've all got the night off, so it's just me you've got to look at in tonight's show. As I said, we will be covering, obviously, the 2-0 loss to Liverpool. We'll also be covering the preview to the Villa game at the weekend, at 12:30 early kickoff tomorrow afternoon. And we'll also be talking all things Arsenal, including obviously some recent England call-outs for some of the Gunners. So what we're going to do now, let me just bring this up because Stephen's not here to remind me. So obviously the first thing we're going to bring up in tonight's show is team news. So ahead of obviously the Liverpool game, it's one of those topics where it's kind of not becoming a massive talking point because you can more or less predict the lineup. And it's getting easier and easier to actually predict who Arteta's going to pick. So I'll bring the lineup at the bottom of the screen. And the lineup was as follows. Ramsdale, Cedric, White, and Gabriel with Tierney in defense. Partey and Xhaka in the middle. Number 10, Odegaard. And then a front three of Saka, Laka, and Martinelli. And as I said, this was a lineup that we predicted on the show. And I think, to be honest, 9 out of 10 Arsenal fans at this point are pretty happy with the lineup and pretty much can predict this lineup with their eyes closed. Bobby, any surprises for you? Would you have done anything different with regards lining up against Liverpool?
No, I kept it exactly the same. This is the team that's been doing well over the last 10 games. They stripped back the squad, obviously, because they trust these guys. They trust these characters. They rely on these characters, and they've been delivering. So, I said it in the last show, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Leave it as it is. And, obviously there's going to be individual lapses of form and because it's a young team, isn't it? So they're not gonna be as great as they've been over the last 10 games for the next 10 games or the next 20, whatever. We're going to expect to be some. And if that only lapse comes against Liverpool, which are probably the best team in the world at the minute, it's not bad, is it? Really?
Yeah.
So I'd have just kept it exactly the same myself personally.
No problem. Lee, in terms of the lineup, would you not have been tempted to maybe mix it up, maybe throw in a bit of rotation, given the fact that we have got 3 games in 6 or 7 days?
Definitely. I thought Smith Rowe might get a run out, perhaps for Saka, who was getting lumps kicked out of him against Leicester. But you can't argue with the 11 that went out, really. I think it's probably what we all expected. So, no real arguments, really. No problem.
Now, obviously... go on, Bobby.
There was a lot of calls for that, wasn't there? There was a lot of people saying, Martinelli hasn't been playing well the last few games. He needs a rest. We need to get ESR in. ESR come on and played well against Brentford. Scored the goal, blah, blah, blah. Martinelli was the best player on the pitch. He was better than Liverpool wingers.
100%.
So, you know, I don't really think that we can say anything about Mikel Arteta's decisions at the minute. I think we just need to leave it, discuss it, leave it, and discuss what happens afterwards, rather than like moan about who's starting, who's not starting. Because actually, ESR has actually proved this season he's been better from the bench. Yeah. So, and I haven't actually thought he's done that well when he started. I thought he's had a bit of an in and out season. I've said it before, so you know, maybe take the pressure off him at the minute and just on the bench coming in and out. Obviously, he's had his niggling injuries all season as well. He's had a lot of illness as well. I don't know how much bouts of illness he's actually had, but he has had quite a few bits of illness. Maybe that it's always niggling injuries, who knows? But yeah, I think leaving the team exactly as it was, and Martinelli just rose, didn't he, to the occasion. He was
sensational during the night, wasn't he?
Oh yeah,
sensational.
Definitely. We'll definitely. Yeah. No, definitely. We'll definitely come on to Martinelli's performance in a little bit more detail later on in the show for sure. But I think all Arsenal fans are in agreement with just how good he was on the night. But we'll definitely be discussing that further later on. Now, obviously, like, I think I've got to admit, like, I particularly wasn't looking forward to this game. Like, I have to admit, like, I wasn't as, you know, scared or dreading the match as, you know, I've been in kind of past seasons where we're playing, you know, the likes of City and Liverpool. And even if we go back to like the beginning of the season, you know, obviously there was some context to it in terms of, obviously, not many of us were massively happy with the transfer window we had. We did have bouts of COVID, etc. But I just remember going into that City game, or even just the campaign in general, just feeling really, really kind of deflated. But as much as I was nervous about this game, that's more based on the fact of how good Liverpool are, not necessarily a reflection of how we've been playing. At the same time, for once in a long time, there was a level of excitement. Like, I was actually looking forward to the game and just seeing how we would, you know, kind of perform. And I know for you, Bobby, you were really positive because we had you on the preview show, etc. But in terms of, obviously, the game kicked off. And regardless of whether you were confident or not confident, as an Arsenal fan, I know there would have been nerves. In terms of this game, Lee, how were you feeling, obviously, pre-game? And what did you actually make of what I would say, in my opinion, was a fantastic performance by the lads in the first half?
Yeah, to me?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you know what? Doesn't matter what sort of match it is, doesn't matter who we're playing, I always get pre-match nerves. Always. In the stomach everywhere, I tell you. Anyway, as the lineup dropped, I was happy with it pretty much. As the game goes, as the game starts, actually, I noticed, and this is a pretty obvious point, to be fair, the up in class from the Sunday game, Leicester to Liverpool, how sharp Liverpool were. They could even afford to rest Salah. They had him on the bench for a long time, didn't they? So, you know, you're going to be, despite the result that we actually had, I actually felt they did remarkably well, actually. They really held their own. There was Martinelli, I thought, was outstanding. Do you know what? Even Xhaka, who does not get a lot of criticism, especially here, but he had a pretty decent game. I think, you know, you can't really have too many arguments anywhere. We'll obviously cover bits and pieces in a minute. It's a bit of criticism come Ramsdale's way, especially from Merce, you may have seen. Probably a little bit unjust. Goalkeepers make mistakes, and clearly there was a mistake in the first goal at the near post. But you know what? I think we can be pleased and we can be proud of how well we played, and we can be optimistic on how we go for tomorrow.
Definitely. Bobby, in terms of that first half performance, was it something that you kind of predicted? Because obviously, you know, I jumped on Twitter at halftime, and the kind of mood on Twitter was like, you could kind of sense that a lot of Gooners were actually pleasantly surprised just how that first half went. Now, Now I know you've spoken up about this Arsenal team. You feel that it's very much a different team in terms of like being an Arsenal fan for all these years, what you're seeing. But were you surprised just how good Arsenal were able to cope with Liverpool and go toe to toe with them in that first half?
No, not one bit. When you watch how we play now, how many of those 10 games have we actually played poorly and actually still won? A few of them. You know, the Wolves game. You can all pick them out yourself. So there's a different. It's a different team. I mean, I was actually excited because I went to the game, and the whole time, like Leo, I was really confident. But then as soon as I got there, stomach walking towards the stage, my stomach just started turning because I started to get nervous. And I've got this thing with Liverpool that like they've always been a kind of like my secret crush. You know, I've always liked Liverpool growing up. John Barnes. No, I've always kind of liked them as a club. You know, they've done things for me. Not really. I don't really like their fans, but as a club, I've always liked them. Yeah, I've always liked their players, Suarez, Torres, you know, all that kind of stuff. But they've always beaten us, even when we had our invincibles, even when we were good, they used to beat us. Like, I remember when they came to Highbury and beat us the year before the Invincibles with TT Kamara and beat us 1-0 in a horrible green kit.
He was a player, weren't he, TT Kamara?
He was a player. I tell
you, you forget about him, you know. But I used a player I really liked, you know. I really liked. But
they had a rubbish team then. Do you know what I mean? But they always beat us. You know, Crouch hat trick. He got a good hat trick against us. Neil Mellor, I remember scoring a hat trick. He had a rubbish Liverpool career, but he scored the winner against Arsenal. You know, so. Robbie Fowler scoring that hat trick against us, you know. So
the safe in 4 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've always like beaten us, haven't they? You know, so I didn't really. I kind of went into the game, kind of quietly excited and thinking, I know that we can hold our own, but knowing that, I mean, look how they won. Did they deserve to win that game? No, they won because Ramsdale should have saved that shot, and Saka should have cleared that ball out to play instead of trying to be clever. Because to me, he was kind of right in front of me. And it looked to me like he tried to get throwing. Because if you looked at him after Robertson got the ball, he was really disappointed. You know, so he knows that he should have done better there. He should have probably cleared it out or whatever. I know afterwards there was a few actions as well that could have probably saved the goal. But for me, they didn't really deserve. They didn't carve us open. We created the most chances. Odegaard scores. It's a different game. Everyone's saying it was world class save. No, it wasn't. Odegaard shot it straight at him. He had so much goal to shoot at. He's got a nice left foot. He's got to put that in the top corner or around. You know, he's got to avoid the keeper basically, and that's a goal. Other than that, I was really proud of the team, and this is a team that was apparently isn't good enough for the top four. Lacazette played well, I thought, even though he wasn't really a goal threat, and we can actually see that if we get a proper striker, I think it's going to be curtains for the rest of the league. But my biggest, the biggest thing that I was happy about was Cedric, because Cedric got so much stick before the game. Oh, we've got to get Tommy Asu in. We've got to get Tommy Asu. Cedric's going to struggle against Diaz. I didn't hear anything on Twitter afterwards about Cedric at all. No praise for him. Do you know what I mean?
Silence.
Every single time Diaz got the ball, Cedric wrapped him up, and then Diaz ended up getting dragged on 65 minutes. So he did his job. So we need to ease off Cedric. He does his job. He's just got his Portugal call up as well. So he's obviously doing well. You know, I was happy. Obviously disappointed with the result, but I was really happy with the performance.
Good. No, definitely. Like for me, like I said, like, you know, there was that level of excitement going into it that I haven't felt for a long time, because a lot of the time, most recently, it's just been absolute dread going into playing, you know, the likes of Man City and Liverpool. So it was nice to feel that kind of excitement, but like excitement nerve feeling that, you know, we could actually potentially get something from this game. And I've not felt like that for a long time. And I thought the first half performance was brilliant. I thought we handled their threat fantastically well. I don't think I've seen a game where Liverpool have looked that kind of clueless in terms of going forward and not really kind of carved up the team at all.
There was a stat that said that was the that game against us was the game where they've had the least amount of
touches.
Well, the least amount of entries into the box in 2 seasons.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like defensively, it was flawless.
Yeah,
Like it was
apart
absolutely
from the
flawless.
errors. Apart from the errors.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
showed all right. Showed all right. It's youngest team in the Prem and against the
Yeah,
most efficient team in the Prem, basically. Because
Yeah.
Liverpool are efficient. They don't really
Yeah.
pop you off the team.
yeah.
They can play a long ball in behind. Yeah, they can score goals
Yeah.
ways. And we nullified all their threats.
No, we did. We
So-
did. But my only thing was obviously like, you know, whether we could kind of maintain it, you know, obviously in the second half of the game, which we'll kind of I'm not going to cover the Liverpool goals because to be honest, I don't want to relive them. I don't want to give them the satisfaction. But in terms of obviously there was one kind of overwhelming, you know, highlight from the game that you had to, like I say, one of my favorite sayings is you had to have been on another planet to not notice it. And if you'd watching that game and you couldn't actually pinpoint the top performer in that on that pitch, probably out of both teams, was obviously, you know, Martinelli. Lee, what did you make of Martinelli's performance against Liverpool?
Outstanding. That was the best word I can use. I thought he showed some tremendous trickery against Alexander-Arnold. He made Alexander-Arnold look very average, I thought. And, you know, I think we all know that Trent's much better going forward anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But he gave him a merry dance, I felt. It was a little unlucky not to score. I think the score was 2-0 when he had that chance. It just went just wide of the post. But I thought on the night he ran. His skill levels are different class. I thought it was Miles the much better player on the pitch. I think.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying
definitely.
to say.
And the thing is with Martinelli, like you could see it from when he first picked up the ball that he had Trent on absolute ropes. Bobby, what did you make of his performance?
Yeah, well, obviously I was at the game and in the North Bank, I'll tell you this, every single time he got the ball, he had to stand up.
Yes.
He had to stand up because you couldn't see because everyone he got everybody off the seat every single time he got the ball. Not Saka, not Partey, Martinelli. He's got that. I remember I used to go to a few games when we had Alexis. Alexis did the same. Every time Alexis got the ball, everyone would stand up, be like, "What's he gonna do?" You know? It was amazing. But I don't want to put a downer on it. You can tell he's young. You can tell he's young, and you can see why Mikel Arteta held him back last season, and why he bought Willian, why he wanted Willian. You know, because for how many times he got to the byline, he didn't really create a chance, and there was 3 people in the box a couple of times, and he didn't really pick one out. He just kind of put the ball in, but what he got there was fantastic.
That run,
the one where he got Henderson.
Jeez, that was just scintillating me.
But it would have been fantastic. It would have been even better if it would have.
I know.
Ended up in an assist. His performance would have been even better if he'd have won us the game. So for me, it was great. But for me, what it looks like is our future is bright. You know? If Mikel Arteta brings in another winger, because obviously Pepe hasn't done it, has he? If he brings in another winger to raise their level and to like come in if we get Champions League, that I think will elevate them because I think at the moment they know that they're going to start every game. So I think there's little tweaks to their games that they will learn because Taka had about 3 entries into the box as well, and he didn't do anything with any of them. So I was a little bit disappointed with the front 3. Less Laka because I don't really expect Laka to score lots of goals anymore. You know, so expect him to work hard. But I think the 3 they need to start working on their chemistry a bit more to start getting the most out of when they go forward. You know, so but it was fantastic.
Yeah, because I think with Martinelli, like I say, his performance was brilliant. At the same time, like you said, you know, I'm not going to slate him, but at the same time, there were a few occasions, like you said, when he was on the byline that he should have got an assist. Like that run he made where he nutmegged Henderson, that was worthy of an assist. And I think, you know, a bit more experience, a cooler head, you know, in that, you know, obviously that incident, he should have definitely picked out an Arsenal player. There was also a chance, I don't know if you remember it, where he was kind of on the corner, kind of prime like Henry Aubameyang area, and he kind of opened his body up, and I think he put it past the far post,
Okay.
That for me, I think top forward puts that away. It was one of those kind of chances where it wasn't the easiest of chances, but top forward obviously puts that away. So it's like you don't want to be too critical of him, because I think sometimes when these the likes of Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli are performing, I think sometimes it's very easy to forget just how young they are.
Yeah.
And obviously, how many games they're playing. And most of these players are not going to hit their prime until they're like 25, 26.
Yeah,
and they're years and years and years away from that. So, but yeah, it was a phenomenal performance, but it would have been even sweeter had he had a bit more end product. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely.
Yeah, wicked. So in terms of obviously the game itself, obviously in the second half, Liverpool showed their class. I think they got 2 chances, they scored 2 goals, and it was pretty much that. Obviously, there was quite a lot of heavy criticism of Ramsdale online, which I think to be fair, he was at fault for the goal, but I just think obviously the criticism online is just completely over the top. And obviously the second goal, decent play, not great defensively. But in terms of just the general performance, you can speak about the goals or how poor we were defensively in the second half. But in terms of the overall performance and obviously the impact of losing that game, I just want to get your kind of general thoughts. I'll come to you first this time, Bobby. What did you make of, we covered the first half. We know how good the first half was, but in terms of the second half, it along with the first half, what did you make of the performance across the 90 minutes? And what now? Like, was that a game we could afford to lose?
Yeah. Well, for me, the game as a whole was it was a sign of where we're headed. The only reason we lost that game was because Liverpool are a well-oiled, well put together, with a very experienced, fantastic coach, some good players. You know what I'm saying? They're at their prime.
They're the real deal.
We're on the way there, so we can take pride out of our performance against them. It's as simple as that. In terms of where we go now, and was it a free hit and all those kind of things? I think it was one of those kind of games where if we won, it would have been fantastic. But I don't think it's been too damaging us losing. So you could call it a free hit. But I think most importantly, what it does is it shows our level and it sets our tone out. I think I'm probably a little bit more nervous for the Villa away game than I was.
I hear you, bro. I hear you.
Villa have just started playing well again, haven't they? Yeah. So, but at the same time, I don't fear them, and I know that we can go there and win. They've got Tyrone Mings and Callum Chambers at the back. Come on.
Some Callum there, mate.
Callum Chambers.
Bobby's not a fan. I
like him as a guy. I don't rate him as a player. Matty Cash is probably their only good player, but he's not the greatest defender. My stepson's a Villa fan, so I take him to the odd game.
Okay.
And obviously I live in Birmingham, so a lot of my friends are Villa fans, so I know a lot about Villa. But I know that if we're on our game, we can beat them, and we've been on our game this season more than we haven't. So we should go there and win. We've got a better manager, we've got a better squad, we've got a better team, and we're in better form. So bring them on.
No problem. Lee, I'll come to you. Obviously, I don't know if you were kind of like, interacted online or if you were kind of present online after the game, but there was, as to be expected on Twitter and the internet, there was a lot of overreaction. There was a lot of reactionary fans, taking to Twitter and social media. Generally, in your opinion, what did you make, similarly to Bobby, what did you make of the general performance across 90 minutes? And, what are your thoughts, obviously after losing the game? Do you think it was a massive overreaction by sections of the Arsenal fan base?
I think with the ease of how easy it is putting a tweet out without even thinking about it, you can get a massive overreaction. Of course you can. If you look at the general picture of it, I thought massive improvement on Arsenal from where we were maybe for a few years, playing against a real deal top level club. Decent performance. We could have easily even got a draw. We could have even won it. I want to give Alisson a bit of praise in goal. By the way, we didn't touch about. There was there was a couple of saves, particularly where he was big when he sort of the back pass that went through. Lacazette was up there, and maybe Lacazette could have got something, but then he laid it off to Odegaard, and then it's gone up. But Alisson was very big, made it very difficult. I felt. I want to give him a bit of credit for that. Online reactions with Ramsdale, I do want to touch upon, because it's the life of a goalkeeper. See, you see it all the time, right? I think David De Gea, Man United, is a great example of this. We've seen it in recent times. Makes a mistake, gets absolutely slated for it. That's the thing. If you're the last man in trying to stop the ball going in, I know nothing about goalkeeping. I can't even catch a cold. But that's the goalkeepers are there. They're going to make a mistake, maybe. Look, we've had people like Jens Lehmann, we've had David Seaman, we've had people like Bob Wilson, Pat Jennings, some of the best goalkeepers that we've ever seen.
Almunia.
Fabianski.
Almunia.
Yeah.
But they make mistakes. That's the thing. Ramsdale is still very, very young for a Premier League top 4, 5, 6, whatever we want to call it, goalkeeper. Very young, and he's only going to get better. He's kept us in several games. We know how. I think we've got level-headed panel here. I think we can we can see how well he's doing. Even in the game on Wednesday, there was a save from, I think it was from Van Dijk on the corner. Don't forget Richard Wright. Yes, how can you forget Richard Wright?
He does. Don't forget Richard Wright.
Richard Wright. Oh, I'm sure he's still.
I don't even know where he is.
We'll go back to that in a minute. But there was a save from Van Dijk. There were others in the game. One of the kids. You see Arteta's reaction, saying, he actually felt quite down about it and everything, and he's very, very critical of himself. Goalkeepers are like that. They're perfectionists, right? It's the thing. We go again tomorrow, early lunchtime kickoff. He'll be out there. He needs to put it back in his mind. Go again. Different game. So there we go.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because we're going to pretty much wrap up the Liverpool game. But it's interesting you should say that, because bit of team news coming out of today. So we will talk about the Villa game. I don't want to go into too much depth about it just yet. But Arteta was kind of quizzed, obviously, with regards to Tomiyasu. Of kind of, in terms of what he was saying, it's probably likely that Tomiyasu is not going to be fit for the Liverpool game. I'm sorry, for the Villa game. And also, I don't really know where the rumours have come from, but I think it's because of the fact that Arsenal have released training pictures, and I think none of them have featured Ramsdale. And there's
that why Leno's trending on Twitter?
Yeah, there's rumours floating about that. He might have picked up a knock, and he might not actually be available for the Villa game. Just quickly on that, before we move on to obviously the Arsenal players get England call-ups. How are you feeling about the fact if Ramsdale doesn't play, and most likely, obviously, Leno would have to deputise for the Villa game?
Leno's
go on, Bobby.
Yeah, Leno's a more than able. And he probably got a bit of a point to prove as well, hasn't he? He wants to put himself in the shot window. He hasn't really had much opportunities to play recently, has he? But I got a feeling Ramsdale to play though. I think
would you not be worried about obviously Ramsdale's? Obviously, we know how fantastic Ramsdale can be between the sticks. Let's not look at the Liverpool mistake and say, oh yeah, forget what he's done. He's one of the main reasons why we are in the position we are in the league. But would you not be worried about his impact in terms of what he does in our build-up play? Because we definitely know that Leno is not. When it comes to goalkeeping, I always say Leno is he's almost like a Hollywood goalkeeper. It's like he pulls off these fantastic saves, but then he also has these crazy moments. He's like a Hollywood movie, whether it's a good movie or whether it's a bad movie. He's like a Hollywood movie. Yeah, he's just like that. My only worry would be the fact that Ramsdale offers us so much in terms of build-up play, having the ball comfortable at his feet. And sometimes, like, his distribution is just on another level. Like, we literally go from a goal kick to being like 10, 15 yards away from, you know, the opposition's goal in a matter of a pass. That would only be my concern going into the Villa game. Lee, what are your thoughts? You think we could like cope without him tomorrow against Villa?
I get where you're coming from, G. I get where you're coming from. I actually did play-by-play commentary for it on my own Twitch channel during the game. There was a kick out from Ramsdale that found Saka, who just and it was just Saka's touch somewhat let him down a little bit. It was a sensational bit of vision, even with his hands, when he's throwing it out, is fantastic. But you know, right? So if we're dealing with Leno in goal, do you know what? We've got a very experienced goalkeeper there. I'd rather see Leno go in goal if he has to, rather than the younger goalkeeper, which name I can't remember off the top of my head.
He's on loan though.
No, not Renas. There's another one. There's another one.
He's on loan though, so we can't call on him. Thank God.
No. True, but I wouldn't want to be looking for excuses. If say Leno's in goal, well, that's not an excuse for anything. Yeah. We've got players in front of him to move the ball around. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll quickly head to the comments. Obviously, we got Big Max here earlier. I put it up. Yes, lads. Big up. Come on, you Gunners. We got D-Dubs. We got D-Dubs here saying, don't forget Richard Wright. I don't think any of us can forget Richard Wright for all the wrong reasons. And then we've got Scott here. Morning, lads. Morning, Scott. Right. So in terms of obviously the Liverpool game, that pretty much kind of wraps up our, look back on that. Now, obviously in other news, this week, there was a lot of what I would say maybe hype, a lot of conversation online about this. A lot of Arsenal fans were very interested in the upcoming England squad announcement, obviously for the reason that we have Ramsdale, White, ESR, Saka, all in their own right having really good seasons. Opinions may differ. But yeah, in terms of obviously the England call up, the England squad being announced, how do you feel about this? Because you know what, when I saw it, I was like happy. I was like, yeah, do you know what? This is detriment to the fact, not detriment. This is like, I don't even know. It's deserving. They're deserving to get they're deserving to get this call up. They're having really good seasons, all of them in their own right. But speaking to a couple of Gunners, they're like, yeah, I don't want them in and around the England squad. I don't want them playing extra games. I'd rather them be at London Colney. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, but this is all part and parcel and part of the young players' development, to kind of be in and around the international scene. We've got 3 weeks off, a couple of friendlies here and there for the international team is not going to be a big deal. But then when I'm talking to Gooners, I'm thinking, boy, we do have a thin squad though. I'm thinking if Saka or Smith Rowe get injured, or if Ben White get injured, all of a sudden we're relying on holding. So I kind of get both sides. Where do you sit? Bobby, you're shaking your head confidently, so I'm going to come to you first. Where do you sit with regards the whole kind of, obviously, big up the boys for getting their call up, but where do you sit with regards how you're feeling about the England calls up, and in terms of where you sit on either side of the fence with regards should they be in the team? Would you prefer them not to be in the team, etc.?
I sit firmly on the side of the fence that these boys should be playing international football. I think that we should have a club. We should have our club. Our stature of our club should be stacked with international football players playing in international tournaments and on the top table, And I tell you what, one thing about that is it just raises the profile of our team, of our everything to do with Arsenal. We've got 4 players right through the core of our team that are representing England and that are mainstays in the England team and are going to be mainstays in the England team for probably the next 10 years. I don't know whether this is actually true, but back in the day, it was always you get kind of slight favours from the FA and from referees as well. They would always
there is that
always favour those England players in games, and It's just better. It's just better for the boys. It's better for the confidence. It's better when they go out on the pitch. They just feel a bit more, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an England player. What you got?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is where we want our team to be headed. We want every single player to be on international duty. Yeah, okay. It might be detrimental to injuries, to loads, and all that kind of stuff. But you know, this is part of football. This is what it's all about. I remember going to Old Trafford and we had to win the game. We didn't have Armory. We didn't have. I don't think we had Vieira, or we didn't have Petit. Someone. Yeah, we didn't have Bergkamp. We didn't have Bergkamp. We didn't have Armory, and I don't think we had. It was someone major in the middle. I'm sure it was Edu that started it.
That was Viltor and Canu played, didn't it?
Carney was brilliant that game. You know, how we going to win? We went up there. We won the trophy.
We won the league. Yeah.
You know, so
we never think about it though. We never think about winning the league at Old Trafford or anything like that.
Exactly. So it's you know, if we're going to be a top team, we have to have a top team full of international football players that can come in, come out, do a job. You know, they're not all going to play every single game, but you want them to be playing for their country. You want them to be going away and playing against the best players in the world. It raises their level. It raises their attitude. Being around the best players, training with the best players every day. You know, Southgate's got his favourites anyway, so the chances are hardly any of them
are not going to play. I was going to say that. Yeah.
It's only friendlies anyway, isn't it? I'm sure it's
Yes, friendlies.
Yeah. You know, yeah, man, get them out there, get them playing. It's good for the boys, man. Good for the team. You know.
Can I jump in on this one, G?
Yeah, I'm going to come to you with this one. So feel free to obviously, you know, express what you want to express. But just to kind of put a question to this, do you feel obviously with, you know, the four Gooners obviously getting called up, do you feel like they all fully kind of deserve their place in that England side?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I've said previously, I think Ramsdale is probably the most attractive goalkeeper in terms of his form. Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's bear in mind Pickford's missed yesterday, didn't he? Pickford didn't play for Everton yesterday. I don't know if he's. I think is he COVID? I'm not sure.
I'm not even sure, to be honest. But I know he didn't play. I don't know what the reasons were. So
he's easily pick Ramsdale. Not a problem there. Pleased to have Ben White back. You know what? For Smith Rowe, the guy needs some minutes on the field, I think. And these are friendly games. Do you know what? It might be a good chance for him to get either one half or the other. I'd get certainly for the first game, give him 45 minutes. Do you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing Saka have a little bit of a rest because I thought he's starting to look a little bit tired. I want to just say that it seems to me it's been a long time since we've had four players or more in the England lineup. It probably has got to go back to, middle of the 90s? Something along the lines.
I wouldn't have a clue when it was, to be honest. I wouldn't have
the likes of Dave Seaman, Tony Adams.
Yeah. Ashley Cole. Sol Campbell.
Right. And Campbell as well, yeah, of course. It just seemed an awful long time. And you know what? You've got to be pleased from this international football. We're coming into a World Cup like next, after Christmas. Well, around about Christmas time, isn't it?
November.
So this is a big one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bobby, I didn't hear you there, mate.
The World Cup finals, December the 21st, around about then.
Okay, so when does it kick off in November?
Kicks off, I think, the last week of November until December the 21st.
Okay.
Around about then, anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, go on, you.
Sorry, Lee.
So, you gotta. I don't understand I don't want them playing for England thing. I don't get it.
Weird.
I mean, I don't know if it's because I'm old school or whatever it is, but I don't know. Maybe it's a younger thing.
Big up the old school, Lee. Big up the old school, bro.
Yeah, big up the old school. I think you know what it is, I think it's 10 or 12-year-olds hiding behind pictures of like Ronaldinho or whatnot. Because for me, it's like I just don't get it. I personally don't get it. Like, don't get me wrong. I look at this season. The thing with me is, I have my opinions, but obviously, if I'm having a debate with somebody, I will always hear them out and I'll kind of see where they're coming from in terms of their perspective. Now, don't get me wrong. If these guys go and play, and Ben White gets injured, God forbid, and he gets ruled out for the rest of the season, I'm going to be pissed. Of course, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's like both of you said, it's just natural career progression for these guys, you know. And in terms of what it does for the players' confidence, for the club profile, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. And I think the vast majority of people that are writing stuff like this online, I think, yeah, they're either clickbait or, you know, they're probably just not old enough to even watch the games at night, really. I think they should be tucked up in bed somewhere. So yeah, I think a lot of it is, yeah, a lot of it is just reactionary nonsense, because I don't understand how you can't feel anything but pride and delight that, you know, the boys are having a great season and they're getting their just deserved, which is a call up to the England squad. That's what I mean. Like, I don't really get it. We'll run to the comments and then we will move over to our Villa preview part of the show. So we've got here Scott Berg saying the more players on the international scene, the better. It also shows potential signings that Arsenal players are getting recognised. Definitely. Very, very valid point there, Scott. D-Dubs, selfish. It's progression. Nothing but positive development to come from international experience. 100%. 100%. And also Scott Berg makes us even more attractive to potential players. Okay, no problem. So in terms of like Arsenal news, in terms of obviously the Liverpool game, we've kind of covered that. We're going to move over to the section of the evening where we're going to be looking obviously ahead to the Villa game. Now, like I said, there's been a lot of overreaction online, and I do sense that there is a nervousness in the Arsenal fan base of how we're going to bounce back against Villa, because it is our third game in 7 days. As you know, we were talking, you know, before we came on the stream, Bobby, you were saying, or I think you might even have mentioned it in the stream, Villa have recently started playing well. You just have to look at the form of Coutinho, for example. I think in 7 games, he's got 4 goals, 3 assists. They've got some dangerous players, you know, they've got some players. So we're going to start getting into the review ahead of obviously tomorrow's 12:30 kickoff. Now, in terms of teams, I'm going to bring this squad up, and literally, for me personally, and obviously I want you guys to critique this as much as you can. If you don't need to critique it and you agree with it by all means. But for me, I personally, I'm hearing the team news and I'm thinking to myself, by all accounts, Tommy's not ready. That's what I'm hearing. You know, I think if Tommy was ready, I feel like Arteta would just come out and say it. I don't feel like Tommy's ready. In terms of Ramsdale, I think it's all a bit of hot air. I think he is fit. I think he's fine. I think he's going to play. And for me, the rest of the back four, I wouldn't rotate under any circumstances. I wouldn't even consider bringing in Holding. I wouldn't consider bringing in Tavares. I would keep it as it is. So that's who I see playing in terms of Rams, in terms of the goalkeeping defenders. I'm not Xhaka's biggest fan. And you know what? To be honest, against Liverpool, I thought for the most part, he had a good game. But I do feel like there were times when he was in the, you know, in the other end of the pitch, sometimes on the edge of Liverpool's box, etc. Picked up the ball in quite an advanced position. And there were a few occasions where I feel like he didn't do what he should have done with the ball. There was a couple of loose passes, loose balls that I noticed. Now, maybe I'm just extra critical of Xhaka. I don't know, but I just felt like there were times when he didn't make best of certain situations. But right now, hands up, clearly him and Partey are the two best options. I thought Partey at times as well. I'd be quite critical of the both of them. I thought at times Partey looked like prime Vieira, and at times there were some loose passes. There were like little sketchy moments where I thought, you know what, he didn't look as confident as he did against Leicester. Again, that's just my opinion. I think Odegaard struggled. I would stick with Odegaard, but I think Odegaard struggled in the Liverpool game. I don't think it was obviously the Odegaard we've seen of recent weeks, etc. But it was a completely different game. It was a completely different game plan. We were playing a much superior opposition in terms of the other, you know, opponents that we've played. But nevertheless, I would stick with him in the number 10 position. I can't really see anybody coming in to challenge him in that role. And I personally would stick with Saka on the right, Martinelli on the left, and Laka up top. Now, there's been a lot of discussions about Lacazette and about potentially playing Martinelli in the middle, you know, Pepe on the right, etc., etc. For me, regardless of how ineffective Laka was against Liverpool, Laka has proven that against lesser opposition, he is very effective. in terms of his link-up play. You just have to look at in the last 12 games, he's had 10 goal-scoring contributions, whatever you want to call it. He's had 7 assists, he's had 3 goals. We can't take away the fact that he's been involved in a lot of good offensive play for Arsenal. So for me, I don't see the performance against Liverpool a legitimate reason to switch up the front three or drop him for somebody else. Personally, I just don't. I think we need to stick with Laka in the centre. Martinelli had probably the best game he's had all season. The guy's 20 or 19, however old he is. He's young enough to play 3 games in 7 days, in my opinion. So I'm going to stick him on the left. I did think Saka looked a bit leggy at times against Liverpool. It wasn't his best game, but every time I doubt this kid, he comes out punching. So I feel as though he is still in a position for me to start the game against Villa. And I would resist the temptation of bringing in Pepe. I didn't really think much of Pepe in terms of an impact in him coming up off the bench against Liverpool. So that's the team I'm going to pick. I'm going to stick to the team that I picked over the last couple of weeks. Bobby, thoughts on the team? Would you do anything different? Because obviously the context is this is our 3rd game in quick succession. We did lose against Liverpool, but obviously against Villa, would you do anything different and why?
No, I wouldn't do anything different at all. I keep on hearing people talking about Tomiyasu, but I don't remember Cedric doing anything wrong in any of the games that he's played for us so far. I mean, people will be really hypercritical about him in the Liverpool game yesterday, but for me, the first action is always what causes the goal. But obviously, the last action is the one that everyone sees,
100%, yeah.
So, but for me, no, I'll just keep it as it is. I hear what you're saying about Xhaka, and I do support Xhaka, and he's not my favourite player, and he's not my favourite type of player. But what it is with Xhaka is I've always seen his importance to the squad that contained all the shit bastards that we had, like Mustafi, like Bellerin, like all those players that had bad attitudes. For me, Xhaka was a shining light. Xhaka was that player that we could rely on. He played every week. Yeah, okay, he got red carded every now and again, but he was surrounded by dross. Let's face it. Emery came in and got the few little shining lights in the Martinellis, the KTs, and the Sakas from out of the academy, and made us starting to look better. But now I think what you're seeing is that you've seen that Mikel Arteta has now got a hybrid Arsenal. We're a hybrid team. We move the ball with such efficiency. The amount of chances that we create in every game is just ridiculous. And Xhaka and Lacazette just aren't hybrid players. It's not that they're poor players. They just don't fit. They just don't fit into Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. They've served their purpose for what we needed to get where we are, and their attitude, their application, their desire. Probably the way they are around the football club is probably first class. Those are the kind of characters that you need to make a good team. For us to challenge and for us to kick on to the next level, I've had these debates with a guy in our chat called Dobbs. He knows a lot about football. He was a good footballer himself. And yeah, I understand that we do need to upgrade on them totally, but at the moment, while we can't, I totally mean what you were saying about him getting into those hybrid positions. And
man.
Us, didn't he? He didn't know what to do. Like Xhaka is, he's got a sweet left foot, so why not shoot a few of those times? I think basically he's not mobile enough to be able to.
Very, very kind of one-dimensional.
Very one-dimensional. Now, where Saka's concerned, I mean, for me, everyone keeps on saying he's leggy. I think what everyone needs to understand is with this boy, he gets kicked every single game. He plays pretty much 90 minutes every single week, and he was doing that when we were playing on Thursdays as well. This kid's built differently. He's not built the same as Martinelli and ESR. He hasn't needed a big time out of the team since he came from the academy. He's pretty much been an ever present. Not only that, but he went away to the Euros. Was present for England as well. He's different. He's not leggy. He doesn't get leggy. He was built. He was born on probably boiled banana and and beef ribs. This boy is solid. He's built. He's ready to carry on going. He'll play every single day. That boy. He's not leggy. But for me, what he lacked against Liverpool was you saw his immaturity, you saw his freshness and his ability to get hold of the ball and run. But you saw playing against a very good defender, Van Dijk, and a very good team in Liverpool. Fabinho coming into his space, Robertson making the right runs to cut off his angles. He just run out of ideas. Against Norwich, he'll be fantastic. Hopefully against Villa tomorrow. I think that's why Arteta took him off. He knew that you're good, but against this team, you run. I'm gonna take you off and go again against Villa. Against Villa, hopefully he'll get back to his level because he's going to be playing against probably not the best left back So it'll be a better. We'll hopefully see a better Saka. I don't think he's leggy at all. I think he could play every game, to be honest. But yeah, I think that as I said before, I'm nervous about the game. But I think that we're going to win. I do think we're going to win.
No problem. Lee, is there? I'm going to come to you now. Obviously, looking at this team that I've picked, kind of hearing what Bobby said in terms of this team, and obviously I'll say it again in terms of the context. It's the third game in a week. We do have we have a thin squad, but we have a deep. When you're looking at the bench, we do have options. Would you be tempted to do something different for this game in terms of rotating or moving around the squad?
For argument's that I would probably make 2 changes from that lineup that you got up, G. And respectfully, you're gonna have a different opinion to you guys here.
100%. It's what it's about.
This is what it's about, right? I'd might fresh up the front line, and I think we have Pepe who's wanting to get into the side. And I was thinking, just off the top of my head, Pepe where Saka is, perhaps keep Martinelli on the left, keep Lacazette in the middle. And the other change, I'd probably put Smith Rowe in the number 10 role. I wouldn't rush. If Tomiyasu is ready to be in the squad, let's have him in the squad. I'd keep Cedric at right back. And the rest of it speaks for itself, really. But just to freshen it up, I mentioned ESR really needs minutes. With the international break coming up as well, maybe it is a decent time for Saka to come out. We mentioned Odegaard might not have had the best game in the world on Wednesday. It's probably my fault because I captained him on fantasy football. Just in case, I'd rather if we make changes, it'll be further up the field rather than the defensive end for me.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, there's an argument. There's an argument to, valid argument to keep it the same. I think Bobby's saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But I definitely feel as though, there is also another perspective, which is, freshen things up, keep people on their toes, give some players maybe, a little bit of rest. So I definitely hear kind of both sides of that. And we'll go to the comments and then we'll kind of just talk a little bit more about the game and obviously get score predictions. Good evening, Keith. Evening, you lot. All good? Yep, all good here. Got to stick with Laka. Gabby will be a brilliant striker in time, but that time is not now. And then last comment here. D-Dubs, we need to show Villa respect. They can cause us as much damage as we can cause them, especially after Wednesday night if we have any leggy players. There's that phrase again, Bobby, leggy, the one that you don't like. Them playing a high intensity could be tough. But D-Dubs also does say spot on Bobby. Right, so let me just remove this picture and go back to our talking points. So obviously, in a nutshell, really, what I'm going to do... I'm going to give you some score predictions. So I spoke to a gentleman called Neil Dwarika. He's been on the show a couple of times from Callan FC. He's a really cool guy. I'm sure at some point you guys will be doing a stream with him. He gave me a score prediction of 3-1 to the Arsenal, which was 16-1. So we'll return £7 if it comes, £17 if it comes in. So that's going to be our charity bet. Hopefully we do win some money so we can put it to the Northern Ireland Air Ambulance Services. Stephen went with 2-1 to Arsenal, and Keith went with 4-2 to Arsenal. I've not got Lottie's score. However, I'll come to you first, Lee, on this one. But before you give me your score prediction, I want you to just give me, and I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to give you a minute because we're going to keep tonight's show under an hour or just on an hour. So I'm going to give you a minute, okay? In a minute, I want you to tell me how is this game going to go and what is your score prediction?
Okay. I see the game's starting a little bit edgy, I must say, possibly as a reactionary thing from the other night. I do see maybe Villa getting the early part of the possession. Second half, I do see us pulling away a little bit. Hopefully, we can keep Watkins and Ings quiet. Coutinho keep probably be looking at maybe Xhaka looking at him or Partey looking at him. I'd like to see us get a 2-goal win, 2-1, I think.
No problem. No problem. Bobby, minute on the clock. How is this game going to go? Where is it going to be won and lost? And what is your score prediction?
I think it's going to be one of those games where we're biting our fingernails a lot of the time. Villa are playing well, and they're kind of like a bit of a reflection of the manager and how he used to play. Some games they're quite, you don't really see them, but then they've always got that bit of fight, haven't they? So I expect them to be on it. But one thing that we'll beat them with is quality. But our front four, if they're on it, which I expect them to be, because one thing about Arsenal is we very rarely lose 2 games in the trot anymore. So and you always get a performance after a bad one. So I can see us actually really turning up and winning it 3-1.
Okay, 3-1. Right. So far we've got, and obviously if you're watching, guys, put in your score predictions for the game. I'm just writing down all what the score predictions are. So we have Neil at 3-1, 16-1, £17 return for the charity bet. We've got Stephen at 2-1, Keith 4-2 to the Arsenal, Lee 2-0 to the Arsenal, Bobby 3-1.
Said 2-1 actually, but there you go.
2-1, yeah. No problem. If you said 2-1, it is 2-1. I must have heard you wrong. Apologies. I'm gonna go. Let's see. I'm gonna go 3-0 Arsenal. That's what I'm going to go. I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal. So, yeah, please do get your predictions in before we kind of wrap things up. Where am I now? I'm looking for the comments. There we are. So, we've got big mics here. I think Villa will score first, but we will win 3-1. So that seems to be quite a popular and quite a popular score prediction. We've got Lottie B here. Lottie, you need to text me your predicted score. Yeah. Stop watching the Arsenal ladies and send me your score. Evening. Sorry I'm late. That's fine, Lottie. No problem at all. The Arsenal women are through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup after a 4-0 win. Congrats to the Arsenal ladies.
I was just going to bring that up right at the end, actually. No. As soon as we got there. There you go. There's a score.
3-1. You didn't ask. I did. I put it in the chat anyway. But I did ask.
Just not have a domestic on the stream, guys. So just maybe afterwards.
So we've got 3-1 Lottie. So I've got everybody's score predictions, so we can sort that out a little bit later. However, so that pretty much kind of wraps up before I move on. I love you, Lottie. Nothing personal. I love you. And then she goes, Lottie B, top of the league all season. Brilliant. Big Mike's clapping. Right, now, before we go, do not tune off just yet. Now, it is announcement time. Yes, we have some more announcements. Now, obviously, in recent weeks, obviously, Cannon Chat has been going on for probably just over a year now. And, you know, over the course of the year, me and Stephen have had absolute brilliant time doing this. Made so many amazing friendships. We invited Lottie to be part of the team. She was our first person to join the Cannon Chat team. Most recently, we've announced the involvement of Keith, obviously part of the team. Also Martin, our graphics guy, as well as Jim, who will be doing the kind of website blog, kind of Arsenal written content. However, I'm absolutely delighted to announce that tonight on your screens, you have Bobby and you have Lee, who will both now be official Cannon Chatter members. So massive congratulations to you guys. You know what? Just from me and the whole Cannon Chatter team, you're two gentlemen that we've both met on this kind of Twitter, YouTube journey. You've appeared on the show many a times. You know, I've been really keen on you kind of joining the channel and your contributions. I know the whole team has felt the same. And for me, it's just kind of like a natural progression in terms of the team growing and kind of like what you guys bring to the team. So a massive thank you from me and the whole Cannon Chatter team, because obviously we asked you, we invited you, but you didn't have to say yes. So it is a massive. It is a massive thing for us. We want to grow the channel with the right people, and we definitely feel like you two are going to be real assets to the channel. So thank you so much for joining, and yes, congratulations to you both, Cannon Chatter members.
Really?
Let's go. Let's bring the house down, man. Let's boost things up.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's been in the pipeline for a while. But yeah, I'm just glad that we can kind of break the news to everybody now. And yeah,
I can tell people now, right?
Yeah, definitely. You can put it on your bio. You can tell people. You can do whatever you want to do. Do you know what I mean?
Fantastic.
And then we've got couple of last comments here. Lottie B, drum roll, please.
Drum roll,
Big Mike
please. Yeah.
doing the little claps. And then obviously Big Mike's again. Big up the good content, guys. And obviously Keith, who also is a member, saying yes, great choices. So yeah, that kind of pretty much wraps up the show. Obviously, a massive thank you to everybody who's tuned in tonight. It's always a pleasure, having you guys kind of tune into the channel, interact with us, etc., etc. A massive thank you to obviously Bobby, new member of Cannon Chatter. A massive thank you to Lee, another new member of the Cannon Chatter team. But yeah,
cheers, guys.
That's about it. Pretty much wraps up the show. Any last words, Lee, before we go?
So, guys, if you haven't already, can you please smash that like button? Can you please give us a follow on Twitter at Cannon Chatter? Come on, the Arsenal. Let's bounce back. Good on the ladies for a fantastic result tonight. And let's plug the merch, mate.
Definitely. Bobby, any last words before we go?
Yeah, well, I just want to say thanks for inviting me onto the channel, and looking forward to talking Arsenal and bringing more content to the followers, and let's get it out there, man. You know what I mean? And let's all support Arsenal and together, and let's bring it home, man. Come on, let's go.
Definitely.
Exciting times.
No, it is. It really is. And now you see Lottie. Now she's piping up. She know what? You know why Lottie does this? Lottie doesn't like me to keep my shows under an hour. I know what she does. She does this deliberately. And now I've gone over the hour, so I'm going to read your last 3 comments, Lottie, and then I'm going to go. Get the hoodies out, G. No, definitely. Me and Stephen and the team will have a chat. We'll sort out something in terms of hoodies. Actually, where's yours? I'm kidding. So you have to go and remind Stephen I'm not wearing my hoodie. Oh gosh, Lottie. All love. It is all love. And on that note, you know what?
Perfect way to end it.
Yeah, it's been a great show. Obviously, we got Villa tomorrow, early kickoff. Let's get it. Come on, you Gunners. Welcome to obviously Bobby and Lee. And we're going to be back in terms of next shows. We're going to be back either Monday or Tuesday next week for obviously the review. I'm not sure when, but we will let you know. But yeah, until next time, I guess, keep chatting.
Take it easy, man.